Hello and welcome to the Learned It, Living It podcast. On behalf of Darlington College, I'm delighted to welcome you. I think this is our 5th episode today, and we've had people from right throughout the college community, from staff, whether it was the principal, Mr. David Gartland, to students, our last episode being the fantastic trip that some of our students had to Nepal. And today, I'm joined by 2 more guests. I'm going to let them introduce themselves. So, one at a time, don't fight over the microphones, please. Could you quickly introduce yourselves and tell me what it is that you do at the college?
Yeah, so I am Kirsty. I have been at the college now for 4 years, and my job is to be schools liaison.
I'm Sam. I am also a school liaison with Kirsty, and I've been at the college for 1 year.
Right, okay. So schools liaison. I've worked alongside the college on various pieces of work and this, that and the other, and I often hear, we'll talk to the schools liaison team.
Yeah.
Okay, like it's some kind of superpower. And today I actually get to meet and talk to the schools liaison team, so there we go. What is schools liaison? I think first and foremost, let's get that out there. What is that?
Oh, well, that's a question. So we pretty much promote the college. That is our job. We go out to do lots of events, to do like year 10 tasters. So we get lots of like year 10s students into the college. We do assemblies for year 11s. We do our open events. We do parents' evenings. We do a lot. Mock interviews. We get them ready for interviews, whether it's for apprenticeships. We do... What else do we do?
We've done mock interview. Did you say mock interviews?
Yeah.
Sorry.
That's all right. Just be doubly sure that they can.
Yeah, so we've got mock interviews. As we said, we've got other career events related sometimes.
So is the mock interviews for careers, or is that to like come to the college?
For careers.
Yeah.
So it's to get like year 10s pretty much ready for when they go out to a real life job, because a lot of them have never had interaction with
so how
outside
old are year
people.
10 students?
So you're looking about 14, 15.
Yeah. So some of them will go on to do apprenticeships.
Yeah.
When they're 16, and they'll have to do an interview for that. So it's good preparation for stuff like that, and that's all linked to sort of other career stuff that happens. So it's we've mentioned mock interviews, but they have stuff like work why bother days that we go into, and it's teaching them all about different careers that they might not have considered. So there's lots of other stuff, but probably in the main it would be.
I suppose thin end of the wedge. You're going into a school going, here's the college, and I know, and I've said this on other episodes, you see the frontage of Darlington College and you go, wow, because it looks great, it's a fantastic building. What you don't know is what's behind those front doors, and I can say, and I say it every time, if you don't know what's in that college, go and have a look, because there is so much going on behind closed doors. So I bet you've got to hold all of that information in your head when you're going out to see people. So you go out to see year 10s, and obviously I imagine you with year 11s as well throughout that process when they're making it, and you're kind of giving them an idea of what could be next, I suppose. Yeah. Wow. Okay. So that's incredible. What area do you sort of cover then?
Everything. We do every area. So when we go out to like career fairs, we will have 20, 30 people at once coming to our table asking us questions, whether it's about hair and beauty, media, or construction, and we have to be able to give them a brief overview of every single course that we cover in the college. So it's a lot of knowledge. To be fair, I still don't know everything about it, even though I've been there for like 4 years. So obviously when Sam came, it was a case of learn all of this knowledge because you're going to need it. Yeah. And it is a lot. So like we get questions about, well, which courses have exams in? Which courses do coursework? How many days a week am I in the college? What am I going to get taught? What's in the units? And it's like...
Even questions like what vending machines are available?
Absolutely,
is the food any good?
Yes. Do you sell chicken nuggets? Yeah. We get questions like that. Yeah, absolutely.
But you learn, like, just whilst you're doing these things, because, I mean, you know, sometimes Kirsty says stuff and I'm like, how would you even know that? Like, that's the most random piece of information. But you just end up learning it whilst you're doing it. And I mean, for example, I brought a couple of childcare girls with me to Longfield just to sort of tell them about childcare.
Oh, so students from the course.
Yeah. Just tell them about like the T levels there, and I learned a lot about that, so I could tell in other stuff. But one of the girls, her brother did criminology, and so she knew everything about criminology, how the course ran, how everything, and because she repeated it so many times during that day, I sort of learnt from that, and so that's how you pick up this random bit of knowledge that you can then go and tell.
Yeah, I can imagine it's really challenging to go.
Absolutely.
Obviously, you can provide the detail, you know, in terms of information and stuff after the fact. But when you've got a student who's keen to know if you've got chicken nuggets or not, obviously you want to make sure that you can serve them with the right answers. I think, you know, it's interesting because all of the podcasts we've done so far have been very focused around a subject per se, or in the case of David Gartland, obviously his role as principal. But obviously your role is everything in terms of being able to talk about it. So it's great, and it brings up so many questions. I think you know, what would you say your first engagement is with the school? Is it like an assembly where you're talking to a group, and then do you have to try and encourage people to come and speak to you individually? How does that work?
Yeah, assemblies can be a bit hit and miss depending on what year group we do, because we do assemblies predominantly it is for year 11. So from September to November is normally when we go into all of our schools, and we've got, I think it's like 52 schools on our list at the moment that we do, whether it's Darlington, North Yorkshire, County Durham, Stockton, all over. So we try and speak to the year 11s and just give them a flavour to say, like, look, you can apply, this is how you apply, this is what we have to offer. But I'd probably say from the start of it all is from year 10 tasters. So that's when we get them in to spend a day at the college in year 10, ready for them to then apply when they come into year 11. But
how do those taster day work? Does it just come to the college and have a mix of things, or is it like very focused around a certain course or area?
Well, it's like, do you mean in terms of how it's run?
How it's run, yeah. So is it like health and beauty, or is it a bit of everything? If people,
it's like, so it is quite a long process in terms of how it's run. So we will send off, obviously, the list of subjects that to the career advisors of these schools, and say they can pick 4. Obviously, on the day they're going to do 2, but then we need to sort of deviate what they're going to do, and it sometimes comes down to sort of, you want, you know, them have a classmate that they know in the class, because there'll be 3 schools, and that's where the logistics. So it's not a case of them rocking up. It's a sort of a long process, and then on the day they'll come in and do the 2 subjects, and often from previous years, I mean, this is my first tasters, but I found that's maybe they've done it and they've really enjoyed it, and then they've gone to apply in September. So that's probably, well, as we say, that's where it starts, and then September, October is when we do the career fairs and the assemblies.
Okay. So for all the schools liaison people like, oh, that's obvious. So you go in and talk to the schools. So I understand how you directly translate that, but actually, when you actually delve into the detail, there's a whole lot going on. I think, you know, what are some of the challenges? So you're seeing young people throughout the region, obviously, considering, you know, what sort of challenges are you seeing them wrestling with in order to make that next step? Because I imagine, you know, we've obviously been through the education system.
Absolutely, yeah.
Now in the school of life. But obviously there's decisions to make. So I suppose, what are the challenges you're seeing, and then how can you help support those young people?
The main challenge we've sort of come across is not so much from the students, it's sometimes from their parents and what their friends are doing. A lot of students have got this idea is they want to go and do a subject where their friends are doing the same subject. And like we always say to them, that's all good and well, but at the end of the day, your friend's going to do fantastic in that subject because that's what they want to do. You might not. So find something that you're just as interested in. And then some parents are very much still on the whole, oh, well, Darlington College is just for like the construction students, whereas you need to be going to sixth form, because sixth form will get you the better job. And that's where you're going to go to university. Where they don't realise you can go to university from coming from Darlington College. I did it myself when I went to Darlington College to university. There is options available. And then some of them are still on the side of, oh, apprenticeships, you need to go and do an apprenticeship. You need to get a job. You need to get earning some money. And some students aren't ready for that apprenticeship just yet. They still need to do maybe a year or 2 at college to gain a bit of confidence to then be able to go off into the world of work.
Well, we've got a former apprentice behind the camera today who went through the college.
Brilliant.
You know, so very familiar with that that journey.
Absolutely.
Alina is a legend. She's been fantastic. She's done so well. And I'll share this on the podcast. The TV advert for Darlington College is going out at the moment, and Alina has edited it with her fair hand. So from 2 years from starting her apprenticeship, she has now produced the advert that is running out on Sky. for the college. So that's potential of what you're doing. But
absolutely,
like you say, it's about making those right choices for you, the individual. Okay, so if you get presented with a young person who's going, my friends are doing this and my parents are saying this, and actually I don't want to do any of that, but I don't know what I fully want to do. How would you sort of manage that situation?
So in terms of what I would always say to the students, we will, doing a course with us won't hinder you going to university, won't hinder you doing, that's what they think of about a college like Darlington College. They think you go and do construction or hair. Whereas our level 3s, if you complete a level 3, you get the equivalent of 3 A levels in UCAS points. That means you can go to university afterwards, you can do a higher apprenticeship. And for some people, it might be an easier route for that because, let's say, for example, they know they want to do sports science or they know they want to do healthcare, but they might prefer to not do exams. They might prefer coursework. Now, there is exams on some of our stuff, but some of our stuff doesn't have as much exams as you would in A levels. So they might prefer doing the one subject that they really want to do with less exams than doing A levels where you have to do 3 subjects. So it might be an easier route from them, but they haven't realised that because they think you have to do A levels to do it. For some students, they'll come to us and say, I want to be, a doctor. And we'll say, well, you probably want to do A levels, go to QE or somewhere like that for that, because you need 2 sciences and maths. So we're always honest with them, but sometimes it is a better route for them doing a course like what we have to offer. Some students will come and they want to do an apprenticeship, and we're a great option for them because they might live in Darlington and we're close to them. Some students might want a bit of both, so they might want a bit of work and a bit of still a collegey feel, so we'd recommend the T level. We always open with sort of a conversation with them and see if there's something that suits, and a lot of the time they'll go away quite pleased because they didn't know that there was an option like T levels or like the BTEC course that we offer.
Yeah, I think the fact that you have that honest conversation with them is brilliant. Like I say, kind of going, well, here's what the options are. Equally, you talked about the doctor. It's not about just we want every student. It's about being in the interest of the student. So it's really reassuring to hear that. Have you ever done the maths? Here's a question. Have you ever done the maths? You said 52 schools. Have you ever tried to work out how many students that then ends up being? Because when you start to think about that and those individualised conversations that you're trying to have, the numbers are phenomenal.
Absolutely.
So, obviously, it's making sure that you're providing the right information to the right people, so that they can then look and question, try out, take tasters. So actually, I think, absolute credit to yourselves going out and trying to support it, because it is a hard, working out what you want to do. I started in sports science, funnily enough. You're talking about that there. I started in sports science.
So did I,
and now work in marketing. And then all of a sudden we're doing podcasting. So it's the way it moves on and supporting people in that journey. It doesn't always mean it. So I think the fact that you try and take that individualised approach is incredible. So what sort of events do you run then? So obviously we've talked about the bit in schools, you're talking to people. Obviously you're trying to encourage them to go somewhere to maybe, like taster events, so we touched on those. So what are the sort of the main events that you would encourage students to attend?
We always tell them to come to our open events. They're the big ones. Come and have a look, because it's pretty much like an open door. They come in, they can have a free-for-all around the whole of the college, meet all the tutors, see the facilities that we've got. And I think that way they'll be able to go, right, this is where I'm going to actually be working. This is where I'm going to be studying. And it's nice for them to ask them questions with the tutors, questions that we can't answer, such as well, what units will I be covering? How many hours do I need to be doing this? What GCSEs do I need?
They can actually read the menu to see if there's chicken nuggets.
Absolutely, exactly. And then from there, we also do our on-course to college events. So from January through to March and April, we do on-course to college, which is an evening where the year 11s can have a taster. So they'll come in for 2 hours on an evening, and they'll meet the tutors. The tutors will go through what exactly is going to be covered in the course. So it gives them an idea, is this course going to be right for me? And it's nice that we offer 3 different ones. So for the students who are and ahhing, maybe it's do I want to do engineering? Do I want to do automotive? Come to each of them. So do engineering on the first one, do automotive on the second one, do healthcare on the third if you want to. And then you can decide down the line when it comes to enrolment which one it is you want to do, because you've asked the questions, you've found out the information. And it's just, we are very much about right student, right course, because we do get students that change, you know, and it's absolutely right. You know, there's no point doing something if you're not interested in it. So these mini tasters help you. And then obviously we've got our full day Connect to College, haven't we, in June, I think it is. And then they get a full day, spend the day in the college. This is a day in the life of being a student at Darlington. This is what it's going to be like. So they get that idea of, all right, okay, so I know where things are. I know what's on the menu for the food. I know where I'm going to be going. So it's a bit less daunting than arriving in September and it's like, oh my God, where am I going? What am I doing?
And even for those students who've like missed Connect to College, I mean, I've done a couple tours today, and we will do some over the summer if anyone wants them, or even if, you know, some students don't want to come to stuff like Connect to College, they might be a bit overwhelmed with the amount of people who are there, might want a smaller taster and come in, obviously for a tour. We do stuff like that.
So would you take them around the facilities?
Yeah.
So automotive is always the one I use as an example.
Yeah.
Because there is a fully working garage in the back of that college.
Yes,
like,
there is.
like that's what I mean in terms of you see the front of the college.
Yeah.
They're like amazing building. What you don't see is there is a fully working garage, and we've done a bit in there with various things, and it's amazing.
It is.
So the fact that they can come in, actually see what it's all about, you know, and talk to the tutors, like you say, I think it's really important that they get to do that and ask the right questions. And I can certainly see when you're saying that they don't know what to do in terms of course, like do I want to do A or do I want to do B? And you're like, why not do both in terms of a taster? And then see where you get to.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fantastic. So you do open events? Are there any other sort of events that you do? Or is it just participating in any... I mean, I know that we've seen you at Darlington Rugby Club.
Yes.
At an event. So are there other events like that you can get involved with?
We do a lot of career events. So whether it is career events in, like, say, the Dolphin Centre or the Rugby Club, we'll do school events as well. So we'll go out, there'll be like a few colleges, some workplaces like the Army, things like that. And it gives the opportunity for students from year 7 all the way up to year 11 to come and have a chat with us. Some of the younger ones just want some freebies, so they just come for the pens and stuff like that. Yeah, it's what it's all about. But then for the more year 10s and 11s, it gives them a chance to come and actually talk to us and be like, so what do you offer at your college? Why are you different to other colleges? Why would I want to come to Darlington instead of other colleges? You know, what can you offer me? And it gives them a chance to be able to find this information out, and it gives us a chance to speak to them as well and find out what kind of person they are. Because a lot of them, they don't realise, you know, they'll be like, oh, I don't really like school. I like being out and about more. I like doing more hands-on stuff. So then we're thinking, right, okay, well, what course can we match you up with that? You like doing hands-on stuff. You like being outside. Yeah. Why not look at, like, outdoor leadership? That's a very hands-on course. And then, obviously, you've got the chance to go on a poll. Or you like building things. Have you ever thought of bricklaying? We offer that. So, like, as much as they're talking to us and giving us information, we're sort of using our brain and like, right, okay, what can we offer you? What do you like to do? And it's a mad little concept that goes on in your mind whilst you're having this conversation.
Like solving a Rubik's Cube in your head while you're
pretty
doing it.
much.
A lot of the time it's great because you realise that they don't realise there's an option like what we can provide. Sometimes they think, oh, well, I have to do A-levels or I have to do this. Sometimes you're like, well, no, you don't. You can do something that's a bit more practical, that you might enjoy more, but still lead to what you want to do. And sometimes they'll come away thinking, wow, I didn't know that. So that's what the career events are really good for, stuff like that.
Yeah. Well, I was talking to, obviously, the outdoor students, and the fact that they went to Nepal just blew me away. First of all, like, to be able to do that as an experience. And I said, I've travelled when I was younger. And it was an incredible experience, but to go to Nepal, like the stories they were telling and all of that, and I bet when they were entering the journey of what should I do at college, I bet they were never like, I'm going to go to Nepal. I bet that never came up, but then that's a benefit that then turns out. But then I was talking to one of the students who was in the podcast, and she was saying that she's heading over to the Lake District and she's got her course sorted for outdoor leadership, and I'm like, wow, you found it's created such a nice pathway to get a flavour on outdoor leadership and what she needs to do. And now, having done that, she's then taking it to the next step. And before you know it, she'll be guiding other young people that'll be coming to her to have these amazing experiences. So it kind of goes full circle. And I bet for yourselves, I mean, it must be really rewarding to see, you'd probably get someone go, I'm interested in this, but I don't know what to do. I'm sure, I bet there's been countless occasions where you've seen them come to you at that and then complete the course at the end. I mean, what was that experience like? Because you end up knowing them for about 4 years, kind of, won't you?
Yeah, absolutely. Like, I remember when I first started, it was like through lockdown. So we ended up doing a lot of assemblies virtual, which when you're just looking at little black squares, it's awful. But then when we finally managed to get into the schools, I'll never forget there was this one young lad. He wanted to be a YouTuber. That was his job. Right. He really wanted to be a YouTuber. He wanted to be creative and stuff like that. So I was like, well, why don't you do film and TV? Media, film and TV. I said, you do lots of creating stuff, and he did do that. And then he's just left now, and I just think like it's amazing that we've seen him all throughout that, and he's created some fantastic work. Like at the minute, I'm doing my PGCE, and I'm working with the media department, and just being able to see what they create, and whether or not it is YouTube that he goes down, but I know he's going off to university, so it's just so rewarding to be like, well done, you wanted this idea. We've given you a course that suits you, and you've done fantastically well, and now you're going off to university.
Yeah, and I think it's very easy to look at the YouTube headline.
Absolutely.
And go, oh, of course you do.
Yeah,
everyone wants to be a YouTuber. But it's like, the other side of it is to be a successful YouTuber, you need to have so many skills that have to be learned to get them in place. Yeah. So even if the goal is to be a YouTuber, absolutely go for it. But here's how we can get you to that point and help you with that. I love that. That's a great. Have you got any?
Well, obviously I've only been here a year, so I haven't seen them progress to finish. But for example, I was at Ferry Hill earlier on in the year doing a career fair, and I was speaking to one of the students, a young girl, and she said she wants to be a physio. Do I know any help? And obviously I've just finished a sports science degree last year. I said, well, a lot of my mates who are on that degree, they started off doing a sports science BTEC course at college, then moved on to doing this at university. And you might find it a bit easier than doing it, a PE A-level and 2 other A-levels. And we offer a really good sports science course, and it can lead you on and on. And she asked loads of questions like, what's the good universities for physio? Because obviously I've been there, and I was like, you've got Leeds Beckett, Nottingham Trent, they're all really high ranked. And you can access that via our sports science course. And you could tell that she thought, I'm going to have to try and find 2 other subjects here. When she realised, actually, no, I can just do a course with you guys and get the exact same UCAS points. I could tell she was really, really excited. She was with her mum then. I actually saw her at one of the Connect College events. And you could tell she'd found what she wanted to do. Yeah. And another example, I was at Horton, and I was telling the girl about catering, and again I saw her at a Connector, and they remember you. They're like, "Oh, you're the one who told me." And I haven't obviously seen the full process of them finish, but just that, it does feel really nice seeing something like that you felt like you've helped someone out.
Yeah, I think every time we go near catering, I just think of the Glass House restaurant. Yeah. Looking to Simon off camera, because if you haven't been, you can go. People of the public, you need to book in, of course, but it's all made by the students and served by the students. It's not just that; it's a fully functioning restaurant, basically, all delivered by the students, and it's much better than me having beans on toast for lunch. It's really good. So I think being able to tie into that, the fact that you've got a fully working restaurant on site. Working environment, and the students can go straight from the classroom into the workplace with that experience behind them. I think it's fantastic. I think on the personal tours then, obviously you've got to manage those with time and commitments. But when you're doing those tours, are you able to bring the other tutors in if they're available and things like that? Is that what you try and do? What thoughts do you put into these personal tours when you're working?
Well, normally we try and figure out obviously what time they're wanting to come in, and then we'll email tutors, see if they're available. It's a little bit more difficult through half term and stuff like that, because obviously tutors are off. But if we've got access to the classrooms or the areas, it makes it a bit easier. But we'll try and give them as much information as we can do. And then if the tutors are there, we sort of like hand over, like, we can give you the basics, but these are the experts. These will tell you the nitty gritty.
That's what happened today. So I had a student in looking to see electrical, and I took them up. I was like, I can tell you a little bit about it. I can show you about. But then I saw Paul, the electrical tutor there, and I thought, oh, perfect. I said, Paul, can you just tell him a bit about the course? And he knows every single thing about it. Yeah. So ideally, if we can get the tutors involved, we will. Yeah. But otherwise, we can give obviously a brief assessment of every course if they're wanting it. Yeah.
No, I love that. I love that you go the extra mile to sort of do that. I think for me, that is obviously a very unique experience. But I think, what on the whole would you say is the most unique thing about the college? And this is probably going to be a broad thing, not like the chicken nuggets. So what would you say is unique about the college, and in terms of when young people are choosing what they should do and where they should go?
I think for us, it's the fact that we have a fantastic student support system. Like a lot of colleges, that when we've talked to a lot of colleges, some of them are very much about bums on seats, making sure people come through the door. But like obviously we spoke about before, we're very much about right student, the right course, and we have a fantastic guidance team and student support team. Whereas if you've started your course and a couple of weeks in, it's not right for you, you can change. Speak to the guidance team, speak to our student support, they will help you. We have students who come through a bit anxious, or even if they've fallen out with their friends. Something simple like that. We have our team on hand, and they will support them in any way possible to get them through. Be like, look, it's a big thing for you, but it is really only a little thing in the big wide world. So, we will help you get over it and go wherever you need to go. And it's just nice that, you do have that support. You're not just left. Like sometimes when you feel like you're going from year 6 to year 7, you're like, oh my God, this is a big, massive school. And you might not get that extra support, whereas we do. Even with like our additional learning support team as well. So for our students who might have SEN or additional educational health plans, things like that, we will support them continuously throughout, even if it's putting a staff member in the classroom with them, like a learning support assistant, something like that. And I think it's just so nice that students can feel comfortable to be able to have that conversation with staff members and be like, I am struggling, what help's available? And it's just nice. I like that feeling about the college.
I think another sort of unique selling point, I would say, and I say it when I go around the schools, I mean, some colleges you go to only do A-levels, some colleges you go to do a mix of A-levels and vocational course kind of thing. I think our college really specialises at vocational courses to really, we're tailored for you to be able to go straight into the working world. Obviously, you can go and do university and stuff afterwards, but we have stuff like, you see our facilities, like we talked about automotive and catering. It kind of mimics what it would be like in a real kitchen, what it would be like in a real garage. Same with the stuff at construction. It's all mimicking what it would be like in the real world. And that's what our vocationals do. They prepare our students to then be able to go straight in the working world afterwards. We also have the stuff like the work experience included. So all our students will come, they'll do a minimum of 20 hours work experience. And that stands a lot of them in good stead because some of them will get an apprenticeship afterwards with this work experience company. Some of them who do more than that will say, go up to companies and say, look, I've worked so-and-so amount of hours. I've got the experience. So it makes them stand out. I think our vocational courses really are, we do specialise in that. So that's why I'd say we're unique from other colleges.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen the bricklaying.
Yeah.
I've seen the plumbing, the electrical. I mean, the plumbing, we had the gents from plumbing, forgive me, I can't.
Oh, Lee and Lee.
Yeah.
Lee and Lee.
Oh, yeah, Lee and Lee.
The two Lees.
Yeah. And I remember going up there and I was just, it was like, I don't know how they call it, like unit, like little units.
Little bays.
I was like,
a
bay, I was like, there's a bathroom, there's a bathroom, there's a bathroom. They need a lot of bathrooms. And I was like, because obviously they've got all this, they go, that was empty at the start of the year.
Yeah.
And the students had been basically putting in their own bathroom. I was like, I could really do with that myself.
Absolutely.
So it's really hands-on in terms of obviously they're very specific courses. But I think the other thing that struck me is bricklaying, for example. It's all the health and safety stuff that sits around it. Because one thing is going, yes, I need to know how to put the bricks in the wall and how I need to mix my mortar correctly and all of those. But it's actually like, no, this is how you operate safely. This is how you safeguard other people in terms of how you work and practice. And I think that's very easy to forget about, I suppose, is what I'm saying, because it's such an important part of the profession, the job, you know, when you're on the job site. In those cases, it's about that. I mean, in here, for example, we're aware of cables and cable management. You've got a media studio, which is incredible, with green screens, and you've got a big multi-camera switching operation going on. It's fantastic. But again, students have to learn where we put in equipment, where we put in light stands. So the benefit of having that real world environment gives them that real workplace experience in that regard, and they can work on that.
Definitely.
Okay, I love that. So 2 unique things is probably facilities, if we summed it in a nutshell, facilities and capability, and then people and the teams that the college have got around people to do.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It always feels like people care.
Oh,
and that's the main thing.
Definitely.
Yeah.
The other thing we haven't touched on are these AI dummies that they've got in healthcare.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Rather disconcerting. I had a chat with one.
Little Alex.
But there's another example of fantastic equipment that is well equipped to deal. And obviously these dummies are used for practicing healthcare and you know, doing basic things. And I think to any young student coming in and seeing stuff like this, like, whoa, this is amazing.
Yeah.
So hopefully it really sparks them when they get there. So obviously the call to action is get yourself to the open events and come and see the things and actually see what it's like. Get past the front doors.
Yes.
And see what it's all about. I think that's really cool. I never knew there was an aircraft.
The little cabin,
the cabin.
Yes.
That was brilliant. I love that.
It's great for tours, that.
They love it, don't
I get the primary school kids to sit on the chairs when I take them for tours and that. And
just go, close your eyes and pretend you're going on holiday.
Yeah, we get them to walk down the aisle, don't we? Selling the little duty free. It's brilliant.
Yeah. So there are some incredible facilities, and of course I'm going to say that on this, but there really are, and if you haven't been, you need to go. I think for me, you know, what are the sort of challenges that you see in promoting what you're doing? Do you get many people coming up to you going, well, I'm here, but I don't need qualifications? I mean, you know, I suppose, do you get that a lot? And I suppose in counter to that, you know, why do a qualification? What, you know, and I think it's easy for us to think it's obvious. But, you know, to these young people, they might genuinely think they don't need it. So what would you say to kind of counter that? Or provide sound advice is maybe the best way to.
Well, we haven't had as many as what I suppose they probably used to be, but we do get quite a lot that'll like come through of the minority where they're like, oh, well, my dad does this trade or my uncle does this trade and they never went to college. They just learn it all hands on. And it's like, yes, but unfortunately times have changed. Like the government's changed, everything else has changed around like the world of work and things like that. And as much as you might not want to come to college or whatever, it gives you an opportunity to open up into bigger things. Like we have students who might start out at healthcare or like yourself, sports science, but then you're going down a total different route.
Well, I came into contact with sports marketing on my course, and I didn't do it for the rest of university. I stayed on that side, but it opened my eyes, and then it was in a sports job where I actually started to have marketing of things that we were doing, and I was like, actually, I really like this. Yeah, that's how I did it.
Yeah.
So that's
It's finding things out, and like even then, like say our construction ones, they don't realise that the health and safety side of things either. You're learning that health and safety from the get-go, and it is giving you that hands-on experience. Like yes, you could learn it with your dad or your uncle, but you're getting a qualification that you can take with you wherever you want to go. Like say some students might want to go to Australia, like Sam, you're going travelling. So some people who do want to go and work abroad, at least they can take this qualification with them and be like, look, I've got it, plus I've got the work experience, rather than going to an interview and go, well, I worked with my uncle for 3 years.
Is this what you come up with the mock interview? Because obviously, you see if you're applying for a job, it's representing yourself on a form of some description, which is a really big challenge to try and do it, because at the end of the day, a stranger has your application form, and they're trying to get an idea of who you are from filling in some boxes. And surely that's where the qualification is. That, you know, if you've got someone with a qualification and someone without, you know, 9 times out of 10, it's the qualification that will make it to the next step. I'm not saying it'll get them the job fully, but it's
and you've got it for the rest of your life. I mean, I know that they might think I want to work with my dad afterwards, but what if you want to go? You might want to relocate and do it for a different company who don't know you. And if you don't have the qualification, they might say, sorry, we got someone who's been working, who's got the qualification. So it's always worth having, especially, whilst you're at college, you might as well go and get your qualification.
And it's free till you're 18.
Yeah.
You're getting free education. You might as well use it for
courses
some
are
sort.
funded.
Absolutely. So why not? Why not get something out of
You
it?
can do it as an apprenticeship as well.
Yeah.
And then they're still working 4 days a week. All you have to do is come to college one day and you're getting paid.
So on that, take me through, the apprenticeship sort of conversations you have. You have a student who is potentially showing an interest in apprenticeship. I mean, take me through what are the benefits of. Obviously, I've got a bit of an idea. But for the sake of the podcast, let's pretend I don't know. But what sort of conversation you have with people when you're looking at apprenticeships?
So it's often very often when they're doing sort of an engineering or a construction subject, this will come up, but also with other stuff like maybe they want to do childcare or business or something like that. And so I'll ask them all what you're interested in. They'll tell me the subject. I'll say, are you interested more in the course or the apprenticeship? And very often, if it's a construction subject, as I said, especially an engineering, they will say apprenticeship. And we always implore the students to try and source the apprenticeship themselves. We will give them help if they need. We've got an apprenticeship team. But we always say, look on the government website. For bigger companies, go on their mainstream website. Sometimes they'll put it on their website. We say social media. Sometimes it'll post on Facebook. Utilise your work experience that you have at school. If you're in year 10, you'll got work experience. Do really well with them. And then they might offer you an apprenticeship afterwards. Even just sometimes going, maybe you want to do automotive. You go to a garage, say, can I do a bit of work for you on the weekend? And they might say, oh, yeah, he's done really well there. Or, that kind of thing. We always say there's lots of different options for you to source it. Once you've sourced it, let us know about it, and we sort of do all the paperwork for you. And then they'll be out on this apprenticeship 4 days a week, with us 1 day a week, and they'll get paid for all 5 days. And it's really for those who want to start earning, but still learn on the job and get qualifications whilst they're earning money. And obviously a lot of them are learning a trade or a skill that they can carry on for the rest of their career and progress, obviously. So I always, especially for the construction and engineering subjects, I always implore them, you're probably good off going on to try and do an apprenticeship if you can get one.
Yeah. We always ask that question, don't we? It's like, do you want to what kind of person are you? Are you a hands-on, workable person? Or do you enjoy being in the classroom? And if they do say, oh, well, I'd rather go to work, it's like, okay, so what are you interested in? Whether it is construction or, like I mentioned, business or teaching assistants as well. There's a lot of people who want to do teaching assistants. Get the apprenticeship. Go and do the apprenticeship. You're getting that hands-on experience. You can then put both on your CV. I've got my apprenticeship qualification, plus I've got 240 hours worth of actual experience. And then some of our students have been given a full-time job afterwards because obviously they've trained them. So they might as well keep them. And it's one of them things.
Camera if you're listening.
It's one of them things where it's like, you're showing yourself as being the best that you can, so you might as well go and do it.
Yeah, and I think I'll come in from an employer's standpoint. Obviously you're getting someone that's new to the industry.
Yeah.
And you do, and I've said this to multiple employers, you do have to invest the time into making sure you support the individual.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was never a question from my point of view because it is the most valuable thing. Because then working with the employer and the college in tandem, working together, offering support, it can really bring people on. And it's making sure that buy-in happens from both parties in order to make it a success. Absolutely. And then obviously you need the student to do the work, do the tasks and all of that. So, but like I say, ours was an extreme positive experience, and it's certainly an option I'll be looking to do again as an employer. Don't ring me later on today. Just give me a breather.
Get your signed up next year.
But seriously, it is a good option, but you must invest the time and effort. And I'd say to an employer, if you're considering it, absolutely look at it. Speak to the team at the college. They're so helpful, and you could provide, meaningful opportunities for these young people. And the hardest thing in getting a job in the field that you want to work in is getting that first job, because it's the word experience that comes up.
Yes.
And an apprenticeship is a great way of gathering that experience whilst also working and getting a salary.
Absolutely.
But there's loads of government guidance, so please Google or use any other search engines you feel fit, and look for obviously the apprenticeships, and all of it is outlined on the government website. It's really, really well run. Okay, that's fantastic. I think to you, I want to ask the question: what's the biggest challenges you think students that are, we're now July at the time of recording, so the year 11s have disembarked their schools.
They have,
and some will be, and I know this from obviously working with yourselves, some will be still deciding what yet to do. So I suppose to anyone that's trying to make that decision right now, because I know the word like worried it's late and this, that and the other, I know that the college have a fantastic enrolment program that comes out from the results period. So what would you be saying to those students right now where they're no longer in school, there's no more liaison officers coming in? What would you be saying to them?
I would say to them, if they're still undecided, give us a contact. Ring us, email us, get in touch with the college. We are open throughout the summer and we can still offer you the opportunity to come for a tour. We can look at applications. We'll even be at some schools for GCSE results day, so they're still more than welcome to come over and have a chat with us, because we get it, some students do leave it to the last minute. And there is still spaces available. We're not very much like it has to be done by January, otherwise you don't get a space. We are very much, we will find you a course to do. If you're still undecided, just get in contact with us. We will.
So if anyone was feeling stuck or unsure, talk to someone.
Give us a ring. Give us a ring.
I've just done a tour there with a student who's still undecided. She went to QE Bridging Week and wasn't sure if she wanted to go to QE, and she never really considered us, so she asked how can I have a tour. So I showed her around 2 of our subjects, and then what I said is, well, we'll put 2 applications in for these 2 subjects, and you've still got a month to decide. You can always reject us, you can always reject QE. You've still got a month. It's still a long time still to decide what you want to do. It just helps you if you want to get as much information as possible, as Kirsty just mentioned. Give us a call, we'll do a tour, we'll do anything to help you out, really. And a month, you might leave here thinking, oh, I really want to do that subject, haven't seen it. So it's definitely not too late to go and give us a call.
Okay.
You've just done a tour as well with someone who just walked in off the street. They just came around and went, we've just moved around here, so we thought we'd pop in and have a little look.
Brilliant.
So, and obviously we're available, so absolutely we don't mind.
Yeah, I'd recommend calling though.
Just in case we're on holiday.
You're about to put a sandwich in your mouth.
But that is an option,
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
No, absolutely. And I think, best of luck to everyone doing GCSE. Yeah. Is it still called GCSE?
Yeah, it's still called GCSEs. It's just the gradings have changed.
It's the gradings have changed, So best of luck to all the students.
Absolutely.
On there. And, if they are unsure, to, of course, do that. I think, looking at the digital landscape and what we're looking at, there's a lot for young people to decide what they want to do.
Yeah.
I mean, do you think the digital noise that we see, do you think that impacts on people trying to decide? Because it's like you've got to pick one thing and there's a whole world of opportunity out there.
It's hard, isn't it? Because I think back to when I left school, we didn't really have the options of going to taster days and things like that, and it was just a case of you either go to sixth form or you go to Darlington College or you get a job. That was the options. But then there wasn't as many apprenticeships as what there is now. So, you could do apprenticeship practically anything these days, even if you want to be like a solicitor or something, you can do an apprenticeship in that and accounting. Whereas I don't think there was that much now, but students do have so much, and it is hard to try and narrow it down to one thing. That's why we always try and say, do something that you love, something that you're going to enjoy, and then you're going to get the best out of it. You're going to get the best grades. You're going to be able to put so much effort into it and be able to do it, rather than doing something just because, say, your friend's doing it. Do something that you choose. But there is so many options, and social media, it opens up so many doors to people. And I've seen this, and I might want to do that. Hence why some people want to be YouTubers these days and think they're going to make millions and millions of pounds because that's what they see. But they don't realise it's a full-time job.
It's different because some of them have multiple subjects they want to do, and they're deciding whether I can do them all at A levels, or I could commit to one with you guys, or some of them they don't even know one. So we're probably more the college they'd go to because they don't even know one they'd want to do rather than three if they pick A levels. So you can definitely tell with some students it's a bit of like, it's a different situation scenario. But I mean, because of these career fairs we go to, there's other providers, some offer A levels, some offer this, some offer that.
Yeah.
I think they tend to find eventually what they want to do in the end, don't they? I would say.
No, that's great. I think, you know, on this, obviously, once you get them to the, you know, say they want to come to the college and they've done the tours and the open events or walking off the street and, and have a look around. What sort of mechanisms are in place at the college to then further support? And I know this is slightly outside of, because you're obviously busy dealing with the schools and working with them, but what mechanisms are there to support the students once they're at college in terms of their next step, the career path? You know, what's available to them?
So, like, obviously you mentioned beforehand, obviously we've got a fantastic guidance team, because we do get students, like, who say they'll do business or something, and they're like, oh, I've tried it for 2-3 weeks. This is not for me. This is not what I want to do. I want to do something more hands-on. They might want to go and do like games design or something. So then we'll look and be like, right, okay, speak to the guidance team, see if there's space available, and then we'll put you through. Obviously, they've got to remember they've missed 3 weeks worth of work, so they do have to catch up. But there is that opportunity, because we are, like you say previously, we're very much right student, right course. Don't be on a course that you're not interested in doing. And it's nice that we offer different levels as well. So we'll have level 1, level 2s and level 3s, because not everyone's going to come out with the 5 GCSEs at a grade 4 to 9. We totally get it. As much as it would be lovely, some students just either aren't capable or things happen. So we're able to say, well, come and do a level 2 with us. Do that for a year. You could do a level 2 in catering and then go and do a level 3 in something else. You know, there is them options available to what they want to do. And I think that's what our students quite like, the idea that, right, I'm going to get supported. So it's not the end of the world that I didn't get my maths in English. Right, okay, I can resit it. It is based on your timetable and it's not great. You know, I'm going to say this, I'm not going to advocate, yes, resit your maths in English at the college. Get it whilst you're at school, it is easier. But, you know, there is them options available and we will support them through, whether it is additional learning support, through guidance. You know, we will help you literally from the get-go all the way through. We have some students who've been there 5-6 years, and it is just getting them to where they need to be like, look, this is what you've achieved. Well done. Think about when you started to where you're at now, and you've just done fantastically. And I think that's what it's nice that we have got that support. Whereas, you know, you could fail 1 year and it's like, oh, well, maybe this isn't for you, go and find something else. And it's nice that we do offer it. And, you know, we like to see them all the way through. And I like that about the
I think
college.
it's really good to have those, like you say, focus departments.
Absolutely.
Obviously, you're sort of the first impression, I suppose, in many ways.
Definitely.
You know, a lot of responsibility on your shoulders.
Oh, absolutely.
But you are. And then obviously, it's nice that you've got teams and support there for the students. And like you say, ideally, you know, try and get your maths and your English.
Absolutely. It's so much less than your time.
First time round. But there is absolutely, you know, if you don't get those results, you know, the college are there to help. And I think the college will support.
It's good to tell them that as a sort of safety net as well. As in, you know, don't worry, your place on the course isn't in jeopardy, so it takes the pressure off a little bit. We still say try and get your maths and English because it's worth their time. They don't have to come and resit with us. But it takes the pressure off the exams. It doesn't feel like, oh, I need to get these, or I failed.
You're basically there ready to work with the individual to help them to get to that level. No, I think that's a really, really great thing that the college does. So we are now in July. What are schools liaison doing at present?
Pretty much getting ready for next year. So we are putting together our presentation ready for the year 11s next year. We've obviously contacted schools to get important dates. So we've already got, I think we've got about 35 events booked in already between now and November. Wow. So this is like our assemblies, career fairs, mock interviews. So we've already got them booked in, and it's just a case of trying to prioritise our time a little bit and where we're going to go. And obviously Sam here is going travelling from September.
This is where I was going next.
So yes, I am losing Sam from September.
I'm still helping out at the minute though.
You are. You are. Well, I've got until the 20th.
Back in your suitcase. So obviously, Sam, you're going travelling. you know, I think what's brought you to the point of going, right, I'm going travelling? What?
Well, honestly, it was a really tough decision because, as I've told Ross and Claire this, and Kirsty was in the room, I think, weren't you? Yeah. And it was a bit like...
Don't feel like you have to justify yourself to me, by the way.
No,
It's fine.
I'm not saying why.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, you know, I really have loved this job, but I thought my friend is basically, he's gone already. He's gone in July, and he sort of came to me a few months ago saying, why don't you come when you're 22? Why don't you do that? And I did have a little think about it, and I thought, well, I've been saving a lot of money because I was thinking, I think my mum's getting a bit sick of me. I should probably move out or get a car or something. But I thought, no, actually, I think I do want to do this when I'm 22. I want to go and see the world a bit and travel. So I think
kind of practicing what you preach, though.
Yeah,
like what we've just said with all the students and this, that, and the other, in terms of looking at opportunities and seeing what's out there.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I didn't think, if it was a lot of jobs, I would think, oh yes, I can't wait to leave. But it's not like that with this one. It's sort of like I really have enjoyed it a lot, and it's kind of as I said, I did sports science, and it's kind of changed the career path I want to go down. I want to do something working with people. I really like sort of selling the courses like we do. I'd like to promote stuff to people and help people out like we do with the course, because it's a very rewarding feeling. And I think it kind of suits our personalities kind of thing. We do like talking with people. So I think travelling's a bit like that in a way. As I'm going to go and meet loads of people and expand my confidence a bit and stuff like that as well. So that's really why I'm doing it, and I can't wait to do it, really. But
well, as I said, I've been travelling myself, and I've thoroughly look back on those memories with such fondness. Yeah. And I highly recommend it. And seeing like the students go off to Nepal, and you could just see how much of a positive experience they had. Yes, they learned loads of stuff, but actually it's the relationships.
It's life skills.
It's life skills. We're talking about speaking to people in various villages, just little memories about various people, helping them on the day. And one of the lads was singing some of the songs that the Sherpas were singing. Aww. It was fantastic.
I think this job's going to help me with travelling as well, really, because I'm speaking to so many people that I don't know all the time. You learn so many people skills and stuff doing that. And obviously you're going to need that for travelling, so it stood me in really good stead for what I'm going to do next. I've already sort of spoke to Ross. I'd love to come back to Darlington College. Not that it's a guarantee, but I'd love to come back and work. Hopefully, someone watches this and thinks it'd be a good job to apply for.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, you've certainly sold the job well in terms of what it's all about. It sounds fantastic. 35 events in the pipeline, so there's plenty for you for that next person to come back to. But I think just on behalf of the college, thank you for everything you've done. I'm sure if the young people that have come into contact with you and you've supported with them, they'll absolutely be grateful for everything that you've done. And I can see, this is a life thing. It's and I think it's incredible that you're going to do that. And I think it's interesting to hear, because a lot of this would be focused on how you support the young people. And it's nice to hear it's how this job has also sort of broadened your thinking in terms of career opportunities and the direction you'd like to go. And I feel that you've got a really good handle on that next step. You might not know what it is yet, but you know what it might look like. I think is probably a great way. So no, we do wish you all the best of luck with your travelling.
Thanks very much.
And if you reappear in the college in a year or 2 years,
we'd have you back any day.
I was saying if some Australians turn up on open event, you sent them, don't you?
Absolutely.
I'm going to promote it over there.
Yeah, exactly. So no, we do seriously wish you all the best of luck with your travels, and thank you for everything you've done. And I can see how much you've enjoyed the role.
Yeah,
it's clear to see.
Definitely.
Absolutely.
And I've already had people from internally ask me about it and say, what's it like? And I couldn't speak highly of the role. So.
Yeah. So, if anyone was thinking about getting into schools liaison, what would you say to them?
I'd say, you know, if you enjoy working with people and you know, enjoy helping people out and progressing people on the next step, and you find that rewarding, it's a brilliant job for you. I'd also say, you know, the other providers that you meet there are really nice people and great to work with as well. And you do see the same people, don't you?
Yeah.
I'd say in the office, it's really nice atmosphere as well. No animosity at all. It's a really nice atmosphere to be around. And yeah, I've genuinely, I don't think I've had really any negative experience out in schools. The kids really respond well to you because you're telling them something completely different to what school's like. So if you're, you know, a sociable person who enjoys sort of rewarding feeling of helping people, then I'd really recommend it to you. And as well, I think the main thing is that you're not doing the same thing every day. It's very different. You know, one day you're doing career fair, one day you're doing a assembly, one day you're doing a mock interview, next day you're in the office. It's very, very different, a lot of variance. So if that's the kind of thing you enjoy, I'd recommend putting your application in.
There we go. Well sorted. He's almost getting a round of applause behind him. And I think the other thing, and I'm going to let you have the last word, is young people today face these challenges. They're making decisions on what they want to do with the future. What's the one thing you would tell them?
What I would say, especially if you're a school leaver, if you know 100% what you want to do, the route, and you can access that via a vocational course with the college or via a T-level, then that's a really good option for you, and you might find it a lot easier. If there's sort of multiple things you want to do, 2 or 3, then maybe A-levels would be the route for you. But it's about speaking to people like me and Kirsty or other colleges, other colleges at the career events, going to the open events and getting all the information possible for then you to be able to make the decision. Yeah,
I think that's well said. I think just to touch on, if anyone's going, other colleges, you can't say that. Absolutely. You guys are...
We're not biased.
You're all focused on the individuals, and you want those individuals to make the right choices. This is not a cutthroat game. It is people's futures, people's careers, and all you want to do is try and help them make the right decision for them. And if the college can play a part in that, then you are absolutely here to pick them up. Well, Kirsty and Sam, thank you so much for today.
Thanks very much.
I have learned so much more about Schools Liaison.
If you want to reply, let us know.
Yeah, it sounds like a great job in fairness. But no, seriously, Sam, thank you for everything you've done. We wish you all the best of luck on your travels. And if anyone is looking for Schools Liaison, keep an eye on the Darlington College website at darlington.ac.uk. So that brings us to the end of the Learned It, Living It podcast. Thank you so much to Sam and Kirsty for joining us today. And if you want to see any of the upper episodes that we have, they are up on Spotify and I believe on YouTube. Yes, I'm getting nods. Yes, they are on YouTube. I'm like, you did put them on YouTube, didn't you? They are on YouTube. So please feel free to check out the YouTube channel. And likewise, if you are a school leaver and you've just so happened to see me pop up in your feed on any of the social medias, please, by all means, get in touch with the college. If you're making decisions about what you want to do in the next academic year, and if you're interested in any courses, whether it be apprenticeships, vocational courses, or anything that the college does, strongly recommend you have a look at all of the college information and ideally book a time to have a bit of a tour around the college. But walk-ins do occasionally happen.
Absolutely.
So thank you so much for joining us today.
Cheers.
An absolute pleasure. And from me, I will leave it there and say goodbye.